Hi friends, this is Sarah from Crafting and Relaxing. Welcome, thank you so very much for joining me. Today I am doing an art journal page in my 6x6 Dina Wakley journal that I am bound and determined to use up, so I have a goal to do a page every month, and when it gets towards the end of the month, it's time. At this point, I have no plan. I've gotten out my Dilutions paints because they need to be used up. These are drying up in the bottles, so if you have these, be sure you're using them. I don't know where the train is going. I have about 4, maybe 5 colors of this paint, and I just decided to start messing with it and put it on the page. This paint is fairly translucent, but because mine is getting so thick, the pink, it wasn't as dried up, but the other one was very dry. So it just depends. These were purchased at different times. And see, I'm showing you how thick it is on the brush. Diane Reevely's paints, these Dilutions paints, weren't meant to be that thick. It's just that I haven't put enough water in them, maybe haven't sealed them. I have a whole bunch of hotel room and gift card things that I save, anything to put the paint on the page and just kind of play around with it. If you've watched my mixed media or art journaling pages, I am not an expert. This isn't a tutorial. I'm just showing you what I do. Here I realized the heat is blaring. It's like 75 degrees and 10 feet away from me, so I had to stop and turn that off. So if your paint is drying too fast, maybe think about the temperature in your room and if you have the fan on high next to you. Like I said, I didn't have a vision for this page. I didn't know what I was doing. I was just bound and determined to put a layer on the page, and then I would walk away. I would let it dry. So maybe this is in the morning before work, and then I came back later and thought, okay, this is dry, let's add another layer. Found a stencil that I like and put the paint. I put it right on these cards because I don't like to film with my Tim Holtz black matte. It has really bad glare. I'm going to use it later in the video and you'll see, but you can put it on a cottage cheese container lid. You can put it on a hotel room key, trash, plastic that you were going to put out. It doesn't matter. If you don't have fancy paint palettes and supplies, it doesn't matter at all. I have a tendency to use a little bit too much paint. So these really thin paints, I don't get a nice clear image. On this one, you'll see I went thinner and it's a little cleaner. So if you're having trouble, use less paint and clean the back of your stencil off. I took a piece of tissue paper off camera and some archival ink, which is permanent, won't bleed when it gets wet, and stamped on the paper. It's much cheaper than buying fancy collage paper, and I wouldn't be able to find it if I had purchased it anyway. There probably is some in here. So I just grabbed a piece of, and it's used tissue paper. I don't care if it's new or old. Then I put gel medium on the back of it and glued it down. And I couldn't decide if I wanted to put gel medium over the top because that would change how it accepts paint and how well it blends. It's just like putting gesso on the page, which I did do on this before. That way it doesn't drink the stuff up a little. So whatever I put on that tissue paper is going to, I could move it around and blend it more. Then I put some, I didn't want all the writing to go the same way because, like I said, I used the whole stamp, the same stamp the whole time. And then I crinkled it up because I thought that was fun. And then I decided for the next piece, I was going to wad it up and then I glued it on upside down. Literally the writing is on the paint side. So you would be reading it backwards, but it just added more interest so that you didn't look at it and go, oh, she used the same stamp all over. Just getting fun. And I liked the wrinkles. I do decoupage with napkins and different stuff, but this time I wanted it wrinkly and messy. So at this point I have, 3 layers. I've got the paint background, the stencil, the tissue. Then I'm going to walk away from it again. I'm going to come back and look at it. Okay. Play with it a little bit. Glued my pages together. Not surprised at all. Trimmed them off, and you can see at this point I have a sweater on. So every time we walk up to this project, it's probably been 4 or 8 hours. Maybe I did something in the morning, maybe at lunch. Okay, this is the new type of container for the Dilutions paints. So the same exact brand, I believe the same exact paint, but it comes in these bottles now. I haven't watched any of Diane Reilly's videos on how she recommends using the paints now, because she had some cool tricks in the other containers where you dunked baby wipes, or you could put the hotel room card key right in it and smear it. But I'm sure that she is making videos and showing you the same different techniques, but the same fun outcomes. So I'm just playing with another stencil that I like and different paint. I'm really pushing myself on this page to layer. That's my only thing. I don't know where the page is going. I have no idea what it's going to look like. I have a tendency to stop too soon. When I watch other art journal people and their amazing tutorials and all their layers, I like the pages where you look at it and your brain has to stop and kind of wonder, how did that happen, or what sequence did it happen in? And I know that I stopped too soon. I can see it when I watch videos. I realize I would have stopped there. Part of it is my style. I have a kind of clean, if you watch my card making videos, I have a kind of clean style if I'm not doing like junk journaling or that kind of thing. It is a little trickier to stencil on top of gel medium because it's slick. So on that tissue, I was having trouble. Also, I was just using too much paint, and then I don't clean off the back of my stencil, so it's messy on the next one. At this point, though, I love how the page is coming together. Now, I added another stencil when you weren't looking. Forgot to turn the camera on. I thought I used the same paint as the very first big stencil, but I'm not sure it was the same bottle. But similar color. When I did those first layers of paint and I left that white in the upper left, that was hard for me to leave just a little bit of random white space here and there and in the crack. When the camera was off, I was playing with this. It's not glued together. These circles were literally sitting on the counter, sort of in my way when I came back to make the video. And all the stuff that you see laid out on the board down there, the different die cuts and flowers and stuff, those were things I was playing with. I was just experimenting with what I had to see, how can I give this page a focal point? I didn't want to take one little tiny sentiment and put it on there. And I'm not someone who has a bunch of big colored, beautiful things in my room. And I also am terrible. I'm taking the layers off. Those are those Tim Holtz cardboard words. I love them, but they're pretty thick. And you can just rip the backs off if they're too thick. But I'm not somebody who has a bunch of stuff sitting around super organized. And that's what I realized. I don't have like a big thing of these would be great focal points, and these would be great sentiments, and these would be great collage items for a journal page. I just throw things I like in a giant bin. So I am thinking about that a little more. I got out my 3-in-1, turned it upside down because it's almost empty, and my Posca pens. I'm going to play with those. And then I realized if I glue that on there, it's going to be too thick. So I just take it, rip off another layer. I've already inked the edges, so I don't do it again. And I'm a firm believer. Life doesn't have to be perfect to be wonderful. You should be absolutely grateful every day for what you do have in your life. If you got out of bed and dressed yourself today, that's a pretty big victory. And if you've ever lost your mobility, then you would understand that statement. So I think this is very cool. And I liked the circles and how it emphasized the sentiment. It really helps bring your eye, and then there's those touches of white that I did everything I could do to leave. Then when I was just watching TV, sitting on the couch, I had my pens. I only used the blue one. If you watch my channel, I'm sure you're shocked. I went around the edges, then I went around the circles, then I went around the sentiment. A Posca pen writes on acrylic paint. It is an acrylic paint marker. They're not inexpensive. You could get other brands of them too. I'm just kind of hooked on these, and I just buy one or two now and then. And I like it. I like how this page turned out. There's interest. There's a lot of different color, different textures. So I'm happy with it. If you are shy and you have mixed media products, get them out. Throw something on a page, walk away and let it dry, come back, throw something else on the page, see where the day takes you. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.